The Whispering Pines, a night in the haunted forest. The forest was dense, an impenetrable wall of towering pines that loomed over the landscape like ancient sentinels. A group of friends, seeking an adventure far removed from the hustle and bustle of city life, decided to venture into the heart of this wilderness for a camping trip they would never forget. Their journey began on a crisp autumn day. The air was filled with the scent of pine, and the sunlight filtered through the canopy in scattered rays. As they hiked deeper into the woods, the trees closed in around them, casting an ever-growing shadow. The campsite they chose was secluded, a clearing surrounded by a ring of massive trees. A babbling brook provided a soothing soundtrack to their setting up of tents and kindling the first campfire. The evening passed in laughter and camaraderie as they relished the simplicity of the wilderness. As night descended, the forest took on a different character. The friends huddled around the campfire, sharing ghost stories and tales of the supernatural. The crackling flames cast flickering shadows on their faces as the wind whispered through the branches overhead. It was on the second night that things took a turn for the eerie. As they sat around the campfire, a soft murmur began to weave its way through the trees. At first, it was indistinct, a mere rustle in the leaves, easily dismissed as the gentle breeze playing with the branches. However, the whispering persisted, growing louder and more deliberate. It seemed as though the very trees were talking, murmuring secrets that were not meant for human ears. The group fell silent, exchanging uneasy glances. Someone nervously joked about the forest having a voice of its own. Then, the whispers took on a sinister turn. They began to call out the names of each camper, a haunting echo that sent shivers down their spines. The air around the campfire turned icy, and the once crackling flames flickered as if struggling against an unseen force. Fear clutched at the hearts of the campers as the whispers continued. They tried to rationalize it, blaming the wind or some nocturnal animal, but the calls became too personal, too accurate to be explained away. The forest, once alive with the sounds of nature, fell into an unnatural silence, as if holding its breath. In the pale moonlight, the shadows between the trees seemed to dance to the rhythm of the whispers. The group, gripped by an unspoken terror, decided to investigate. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the woods, the pines closing in around them like a cocoon of darkness. As they moved deeper, the whispers grew more distinct. They could now make out words, faint and ghostly, like an ancient incantation. The forest seemed to be alive with unseen eyes, and the beam of their flashlights revealed fleeting glimpses of spectral figures at the edge of their vision. Suddenly, the forest around them fell silent, and the group found themselves in a clearing they didn't recognize. Panic set in as they realized they were disoriented, the landscape unfamiliar and disconcerting. It was then that they heard the whispers again, louder and more insistent, seeming to converge on their location. In a state of heightened fear, they stumbled forward, trying to find their way back to the safety of their campsite. The trees, however, seemed to conspire against them. Every step led them deeper into the heart of the haunted woods, the whispers guiding them in a macabre dance. Exhausted and terrified, the group stumbled upon their own campsite. But something was horribly wrong. The tents sagged and appeared weathered, as if they had been abandoned for years. The once crackling campfire now smoldered with an otherworldly glow, casting long, distorted shadows on the ground. They had unwittingly entered a loop, a nightmarish cycle orchestrated by the very forest they sought to escape. The whispers, now a cacophony of voices, seemed to mock them. It was as if the forest itself had lured them into its depths, toying with their sanity. With a surge of adrenaline, the group abandoned their camping gear and ran. They sprinted through the trees, guided only by the distant hope of escaping the clutches of the haunted woods. The whispers pursued them, a haunting chorus that echoed through the darkness. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they burst through the tree-line and stumbled into the open, gasping for breath. The forest, with its ancient pines and ghostly whispers, lay behind them. They vowed never to return, haunted by the memory of that night in the whispering pines. Years later, the survivors still struggle to explain what happened in those haunted woods. Some dismiss it as a shared hallucination, a trick of the mind brought on by the isolation and darkness. Others believe they stumbled upon a supernatural realm, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead blurred into whispers and shadows. The tale of the Whispering Pines is now a cautionary story, shared around campfires and whispered in the dark corners of internet forums. Those who hear it are warned to stay away from the heart of the forest, where the pines whisper secrets and the boundary between the natural and the supernatural is as thin as the veil of mist that clings to the ancient trees. And so, the haunted woods stand as a testament to the mysteries that lurk in the depths of nature, where reality and the supernatural converge in a dance of whispers and shadows. The Haunting of Blackwood Forest. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, nestled amidst the dense foliage and towering trees, lay Blackwood Forest, a place shrouded in mystery and whispered tales of the supernatural. It was to this secluded realm that a group of adventurous souls ventured one fateful summer, seeking solace in nature's embrace and the thrill of the unknown. Among the group were 5 friends: Sarah, the adventurous soul with an insatiable curiosity for the paranormal; Mark, the rational skeptic who found solace in science and reason; Emily, the empathetic soul who always sensed things others couldn't; David, the brave and stoic leader of the pack; and Rachel, the free spirit who believed in magic and folklore. Their journey began on a sunny afternoon as they trekked through the winding trails of Blackwood Forest, their backpacks laden with supplies and their spirits high with anticipation. The canopy above cast dappled shadows on the forest floor, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and earth. As night fell, they set up camp near a tranquil stream, the crackling campfire casting a warm glow amidst the encroaching darkness. They laughed and shared stories, their voices mingling with the nocturnal symphony of the forest. But as the fire dwindled and the hour grew late, a hush fell over the group, and an eerie sensation settled in the pit of their stomachs. Sarah, ever the enthusiast, suggested they try a ghost story to liven up the mood. Mark rolled his eyes, but Emily nodded in agreement, sensing something stirring in the shadows. Sarah cleared her throat and began to spin a tale of the restless spirits said to haunt Blackwood Forest, a tale of lost souls and vengeful specters condemned to wander the woods for eternity. As her words hung in the air, a chill swept through the clearing, and the once familiar sounds of the forest fell silent. Unease crept into the hearts of the campers, and they exchanged nervous glances, half expecting to see phantoms lurking among the trees. David, ever the voice of reason, attempted to dispel the tension with a hearty laugh, but even his bravado couldn't banish the sense of dread that hung in the air like a shroud. That night, as they lay in their tents beneath the watchful gaze of the moon, strange noises echoed through the darkness, a rustling in the underbrush, a mournful wail carried on the wind. Emily clutched her blanket tightly, her senses ablaze with a primal fear she couldn't quite explain. In the depths of the night, Sarah awoke to the sound of whispers, faint and indistinct, like the murmurings of a forgotten language. She strained to make out the words, her heart pounding in her chest, but they slipped through her grasp like wisps of smoke. Determined to uncover the source of the disturbance, Sarah ventured out into the night, her flashlight cutting through the inky darkness like a beacon of hope. The forest was alive with the symphony of the night, crickets chirping, owls hooting, but beneath the surface lurked an undercurrent of menace that sent shivers down her spine. As she pressed deeper into the woods, the whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they seemed to surround her on all sides. Sarah stumbled over gnarled roots and tangled vines, her pulse racing with each step, until at last she stumbled upon a clearing bathed in silver moonlight. There, standing amid the shadows, was a figure cloaked in darkness, a specter from a nightmare, its eyes burning with an otherworldly light. Sarah froze in terror, her mind struggling to comprehend the impossible sight before her. And then, with a voice like the lament of the damned, the figure spoke, a single word that echoed through the stillness of the night and chilled Sarah to her very core. "Run." With a cry of primal fear, Sarah turned and fled, her heart pounding in her chest, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Branches clawed at her skin, roots reached up to trip her, but still she pressed on, driven by the desperate need to escape the nightmare that pursued her. At last, she burst into the clearing where her friends lay sleeping, their faces bathed in the soft glow of the moon. With trembling hands, she shook them awake, her words tumbling out in a frantic rush as she relayed her harrowing encounter. But as she spoke, a realization dawned upon her, a realization so chilling it sent a shiver down her spine. The figure she had seen in the clearing, the figure that had warned her to flee, it bore a striking resemblance to a tale she had heard long ago, a tale of a lost soul condemned to wander Blackwood Forest for all eternity. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the group gathered their belongings and fled from the forest, their hearts heavy with the weight of the horrors they had witnessed. And though they returned to the safety of civilization, they knew that the memory of Blackwood Forest would haunt them forever, a reminder of the thin veil that separates the world of the living from the realm of the dead.